I just dropped $50 to rescue a PC straight out of a junk pile. No joke, this thing made my skin crawl. Does stick at carpets, cabled like instant ramen. Today, we're giving it a second life, full teardowns, deep cleans, fresh thermal paste, and a couple smart upgrades. Then, we will see if the rig everyone rolled up still game in 2025. Let's find out. First thing first, we're stripping this thing down to the bones, every component out of the case. It came with an orange HDD, so I'm handing that like a bomb. One bad knock, and you got a paperweight. Before the motherboards come out, we're gonna untrangle the spaghettis of front panels and power cables jammed into it. And just look at these duds. I'm generally curious, how long do you think this PC ran with zero maintenance? Drop the restless in comments, closest one get the bragging rights. This rig even came with a dedicated NIC. So, I'm guessing this pool serves duty as a past life. Honestly, one look at the chassis and you can tell what it's worth doing. But our properties right now is cleaning every part the right way. And yeah, what you're seeing isn't normal dust. It's a 3 years cake layers. It's bone on so hard that even high power blowers barely move it. So, we're starting with a case. Water plus a bit of mine's detergent. I spent a long time scrubbing every panel and vents. If you into resurrections built like this, smash that like button. About an hour later, the cell is finally spotless. We will set it aside to air dry completely. Next, we watch the components, motherboards, CPU cooler, RAMs, and the network cards. Using distilled waters instead of taps. Distilled water has no impurities, minerals, ions, or microbes, which help prevent corrosion, short, and residues on sensitive PCB. It's far less conductive, so avoid unwarranted chemical reactions and keep the electronics safe. Before we rinse the motherboards, we're popping out the CMO batteries that ensure the board is completely depowered, no standby triggers, no residual charge. So we're not pushing current through any circuits while cleaning. One thing a lot of people overlook, using a brush that's too stiff and scrubbing too hard can knock components loose. I'm keeping it gentle here, just a short bristle duster and an old toothbrush, light pressure only. And I work slowly until every bit of dust is lifted. The goal isn't brute force, it's careful, thorough cleans that leave the bolt spotless without risking any damage. You'll probably notice in the start, this Coxier 1000 watt power supplies, which is for about $200 brand new. So, why would a build like this need a high-end PSU? Simple, stabilities and reliabilities. This machine was clearly meant to run 24/7 like a server, and that demands rock-solid powers. A quality unit delivers clean, stable voltage. Keeps signal noise in check, and protects components from dirty powers or spike. It also helps prevent data loss when something unexpected happens. In short, overkill on papers absolutely justifies in practice. Now, that we flush out every last break of dust with distilled waters, it's time to break out the air blowers to chase off any lingering droplets and speed up the drag down. Final step, I laying all the components out under direct sunlight for about 4 to 5 hours. That way everything is bone dry before reassembly, so we can button it up and run it like normal without worries about hiding moisture. Everything finally bone dry, so it's time to put this rig back together. But first, a quick look at the parts we're working with. We got an Intel server box S1203 RPs, LGA's 1150 sockets, 4 DDR3 SSD slots supporting speed up to 1600 MHz. Drop-in is a Xeon E3 1220 V3 4-core 4-threads with 3.5 GHz boost, paired with a single 8GB SSD stick for now. Powering the whole thing is the 1000 watt PSU, easily the precise components in this build. There's also an HDD in the mix, but I'm slowly start the snapping in my own SSD to test the setup properly. Now, let's button it up and see what it can do. You know this already, gaming without a descriptive GPU is rough. So, I threw an extra $50 as it's built and grab a bucket card to smooth things out. My pick, the RX 550 4GB, nothing flashy, but perfect for low powers, low cost upgrades. We will drop it in, deal in some sensible settings and see exactly how many FPS this restaurant rig can squeeze out of modern titles. Alright, moment of the truth. Let's hit the power buttons and see if she pulls. And wins. First strike, no errors, straight to the displays. Feels relieved. Now it's finally time to enjoy the payoff and do the part everyone been waiting for, game testing. Let's fire up a few titles and see what this disconnected rig can really do. First up, CS2, low settings at 1080p, tested in deathmatch. When I just moving around with no player on screen, it stopped at around 130 FPS. During gunfight, it dipped to about 90 FPS and it stayed very consistent the whole time. Honestly, the only thing is holding me back is my aims. So yeah, this game is still a confined matchup for our bucket rigs. Alright, let's crank things over to next title, Fortnite. On low settings, this game is squeezing just about everything it can from both the CPU and GPU. Frame rates hover around 80 FPS, not headline grabbings but perfectly serviceable. For casual players or anyone just getting their feet wet in Fortnite, it feels smooth, responsive and consistent enough to learn mechanics, builds and take fights without the frame drop getting in the way. Switching to the world's most played titles, Minecraft. At 8 chunks renders distant, with no shaders, flying around spectators about 60 FPS, but you will see dip to the mid-20s when the map is hammering chunk loads. Peak Chaos triggers a TNT chains and is snow drive to about 5 FPS. Pretty clear sign for ours 12 years old 4-core 4-thread CPU is tapping out. Flip shader on and you're looking at roughly 50 FPS. Sure, it's prettier, but the experience doesn't really improve when every frame feels like it's wading through molasses. Next up, the so-called the goose that laid the golden eggs, GTA 5. I'm running at 1080p low settings because let's be real, this rig had no visited at 1440s or higher. Frame rates land in 25 to 30 FPS range, which is fine for quick using through low settings, but push a longer sessions and it start feeling ice rapids in the worst way. Time to level this build up. First, I'm swapping the CPU to a Xeon E3 1241 V3 4-core 8 threads, which on paper is about 38% faster than the E3 1220 V3. Then, I'm upgrading the GPU to the RX 580's 8GB. Yep, the one from the last video, because its 1080p gaming performance per dollars is still hard to beat. Jumping back into CS2 after the upgrades, the gains are modest. We're talking roughly plus 10 to 20 FPS on average. Nice to have but not exactly game changing. If you already own the E3 1241 V3 and the RX 580s, it makes sense to drop them in. But buying both just for uplifts, probably not worth it. So, what about Fortnite night and day compared to CS2? Frames jump from roughly 80 FPS to around 130 FPS, about 40% uplift, and for once these upgrades actually feel worth it. Snappier edits, smoother trackings, fewer hitch. Switching to Minecraft, the gains are even wider, fusing in the sky and looking down. I'm seeing around 250 FPS, roughly 4x higher than pre-upgrades, when spike north of 300. Flip shader on and it still holds about 60 FPS, which is right a sweet spot for playable, red-looking gameplay. GTA 5 didn't see a night and a day jumps. We are taking roughly plus 10 to 50 FPS after the upgrades. It's smoother overall for cruising in missions, but during big explosions or heavy traffic, frame can still dip to around 30 FPS. After cleaning out several threads, swapping out the Xeon CPU, upgrading the RAM to 60GB and installing an RX 580s, we turned a dusty office computer into full-fledged 1080p gaming PC. Some games are great, others are just okay, but totally playable on the budget. If this article was helpful, please subscribe and like.